starseeds, and welcome to another download, another beautiful video for all of you to just allow to sink in and hopefully raise your vibration at the end of this. As always, take or leave any of this information. You always have the free will to choose what resonates with you and what does not. So I really, really, as always, appreciate all of you being here. I know I say that almost every time, but I do. I mean, I just keep remembering when I was first awakening and talking to people or trying to talk to people about this kind of stuff, whether it be quantum physics or cosmic disclosure or just energetic vibrational shifting, and it felt like it was falling on deaf ears. So I'm just so grateful every day for this community and for feeling like I'm not alone and I'm not crazy and I'm not dying. And really, I'm just waking up and all of you are here to corroborate, this experience with me. And likewise, I to you, you to me. So really do appreciate that. Today we are talking about breaking through the matrix. There's a lot of different titles that I wanted to use for this video, but we really truly are talking about what the matrix consists of and ultimately how incredible it is that we all chose to have this experience. So I think that all of you are going to feel a little bit more energized, a little bit more empowered after this video, because I know that when downloading this information, I felt way more empowered, and it was kind of like this remembrance that came through of, oh yeah, I signed up to be here and this is why. All right, so we're gonna get to that. I want to congratulate the winner of the monthly free draw, and that was David F. So he won a 30-minute free session with me. I do not do any sessions at all anymore. I do have coaching calls for the membership, and I do channel information there, and that's just included in the membership. But if you are a part of the creator membership, then you automatically get submitted into a draw every month for a free 30-minute session. So congratulations, David F. If you guys want to check out the membership platform, you can actually sign up for an absolutely free account onto the new platform. So please go check it out. And it's really incredible. We even have a game and an oracle card deck and an amazing community and forum. This is what YouTube membership was missing. It was missing the community aspect of it. So I'm really, really pleased to be bringing that to you. And I love chatting with you guys on those forums. And then last but not least, Galactic Federation tickets are now available for, what month is it? November? November 11th. It's going to be extra powerful. I want to talk about the Cabal. I want to talk about the White Hats. I want to just check into the world. I want to check into our own crystalline upgrades. Like, it's been a crazy month since the last GFL summit, so I'm just so curious who comes through and what they have to say for 11/11/2021. So definitely check that out. If you've never been to a GFL summit, oh my goodness, you are missing out. It is basically where I channel interdimensional beings from the Galactic Federation of Light and basically see what they have to say about being human at this time. And then, last but not least, really last but not least before we dive in, we are doing a huge website upgrade. We're switching all of our systems over. We're basically trying to make it really easy. We're trying to get all of the online products, the membership, and the online school all under one roof. Our team has been working overtime on all of this, so if you're getting confused, if you don't know where to go, if you have a problem signing in, please just reach out to support@elizabethapril.com or wait a couple of days and try again, because I'm sure that we have 20, 40, hundreds of emails that all tell us the same problem or the same issue on the site. So patience is really needed at this time from you guys. So thank you for that. All right. Let's get into it. What is the matrix? matrix in this context. The English language is so difficult to utilize because it's so limiting, and I have to use words that are already available, that already have some sort of context or perception in your mind. But then I have to redefine that word because, as I think maybe John was saying in the chat right before this, what are you talking about, The Matrix, the movie? And no, I'm not. But that movie, luckily, has a pretty good overview of maybe what this matrix really is, right? So finally, for the first time ever, something that's more mainstream is actually related to a much bigger spiritual concept. So in this video, my definition of the matrix is duality. That is what we are talking about today. We are talking about dualism or polarity, or the other word that I referenced, the matrix, is 3D, okay? So when I mean duality, I mean it's either high vibration, it's low vibration. Either you have it or you don't have it. Either this mug exists or it does not exist, okay? It's one or the other. And unfortunately, that is what we signed up for. We decided to come to this planet to experience duality. And boy, has it been an experience. As a matter of fact, being on this planet is one of the most difficult incarnations we can ever have. Now, of course, if you sign up to be on this planet as a tree, or as a dog, or as a cheetah, you're going to have a different experience with polarity. And most of those experiences are either as a plant, there is sunlight or there is no sunlight. There is water or there is no water. As a cheetah, as a dog especially, there is food. There is no food. Or there's always a hope for food, as our dog loves to sniff around and crumb hunt. So even those options are very dualistic and very limiting. Now, what's beautiful about being a human being on a very dualistic reality is that we are not just dual or dualistic beings. We have, I believe anyway, many different interdimensional DNA capabilities from beings that I believe have spliced their DNA with our DNA, and that was the missing link. All right. So because of that, we're not just animals. We're not just what science would dictate us as. We are much more evolved, we are much more advanced, and that is why we have been advancing so rapidly over the past 100 or so years, is because the vibration on this planet is starting to raise, and all of a sudden, this dormant DNA that we've had within us is starting to unlock. All of a sudden, higher IQs, less need to eat food even, more energetic connections, more empathetic connections, but as well, more anxiety, more overwhelm. All of a sudden, when you start to raise your vibration, time no longer exists in the same function as it existed before. 1 minute could be very different to you than it is to me, but the same thing, with the dawning of the internet, all of a sudden, space, physical space, no longer exists the same way that it did before. You are in Australia, you're in Germany, you're in Egypt, you're in Costa Rica, you're in California, and I'm over here in Ontario, Canada. Space no longer exists. Time no longer exists. We are now bypassing the very fundamental aspects of this matrix reality. So what does that mean? And what kind of impact does that make on us as human beings? It's a really exciting time, but it's also an extremely difficult time to be alive. In order to move to a less dualistic environment, all right, we need to purge out the polarity. We need to do that at a global, at a collective level. And we need to do that at an individual level as well. If you had the identity, the dualistic individual singular identity of, well, I'm a mother, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a landscaper, right? That identity that you chose maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe 50 years ago, that was everything of who you are. So who are you? What do you do? Oh, well, I'm a landscaper. All right, cool. Well, that tells me everything I need to know about you. Moving into these higher vibrations, moving away from polarity, moving away from this matrix as we know it, no longer does one identity actually fit the mold. Square peg, round hole. We need to be evolving and unfolding and shifting our perception of what it is to be human, but also what it is to be in this environment and this space as the energy and vibrations shift. That's why this video is so important, is to remind you that you signed up for this, to remind you, yes, how difficult it is, but also to remind you of the strengths and the gifts that we have in being this evolved species, okay? And I want to mention, I think Spider-Man came into my mind, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. Absolutely, without a doubt. We are extremely highly intelligent, we are extremely highly evolved, we are extremely highly psychic and powerful energy beings. But yet, the more that we step into those abilities, the more we are able to manipulate the matrix or the lower vibrational frequencies of this reality, which once again means that we need more responsibility. You can't have a lot or extra power without understanding how that power, how that observation, how that neutrality affects the rest of the world, your life, your family, but also the universe, right? And that's actually what my whole second book is about karma, energetic reverberation, uploading, downloading from the Akash. I mean, it's crazy, but okay. Just want to backtrack a little bit. Okay, so once again, Earth is one of the most, literally, truly, Earth is one of the most extremely polarizing places in the entire universe. And I want to just tell you exactly why I believe that. And I have seen many different third-dimensional, terrestrial, and then also interdimensional planets and dimensions and experiences, definitely not even close to all of it, but I've got a little bit of a taste, and this is by far one of the most difficult places to be. Many beings don't even want to come to planet Earth, and many of those interdimensional beings are very proud of us for being here at this time. And the reason why is because we have some of the highest vibrational beings. I don't want to just say that it's just about the beings. I just want to say we are exposed to, as human beings, some of the highest vibrations in the universe. Likewise, we are exposed to some of the lowest vibrations in the universe. What's beautiful about being on this planet, being exposed to the extreme polarity, is we get to choose. A lot of us don't realize that we have free will. A lot of us don't realize that we actually get to choose. A lot of us get stuck in the victim of, well, you did this to me. Society did this to me. My parents did this to me. When not realizing that, we have to take our power back from these systems that are at play and understand that we signed up for this. We chose this. This is by far one of the most difficult planets to live on, to exist on, to incarnate on in the entire universe because of its extreme polarity. If this planet, if our bodies, if our DNA was just third dimensional, if all the choices we had to make was, okay, well, get food for your family, which means these days anyway, you have to get money for your family, which means that you have to work, which means that you have to, commit time and energy, right? Life would actually be a lot more simple. And it's not that simple. All of us know that. It is way more layered than just the robotic work and make money and eat and feed the family. Okay. So what I learned a long time ago, and I didn't really understand this until many years after I had this download, basically some beings out in the universe seek out planet Earth to come here And the reason why they do that is because they are able to fast track their spiritual development as a soul by being just a few lifetimes on planet Earth. It's almost like, and it's not exactly, but almost like the equivalent of you could have 10,000 lifetimes out there in the universe, or you could have 10 lifetimes here on planet Earth. I'm telling you, it is almost the equivalent, okay? It's crazy. We learn a lot, or we get completely sucked into the matrix. We get completely stuck in polarity. It's one or the other. Either you're learning and you're moving, or you're stuck. And we're going to talk about that as well. Now, okay, this is what I wrote down. We leave here with our soul PhD. Like straight up. This is what I downloaded many years ago of like, it's like once we are done with planet Earth, we graduate. There's some sort of weird graduation that happens. And then you have this freedom as a soul to be like, whoa, I endured planet Earth. I got this badge of honor, right? Now I get to go anywhere. Now I get to be anyone I want to be. All right. And then once again, I wasn't able to unpack that or really even understand that until much, much later. Now, in order to receive, this is really important, in order to receive your soul PhD, that's what I call it, it is contingent on learning about polarity by rising above it. You will not be able to graduate from planet Earth until you fully understand polarity from an objective place. If you are still in polarity, if you are still struggling to figure out the yes or the no, not realizing that you don't have to make a decision of yes or no. You could say yes and yes. You could say yes and no. You could say no and no. You could say, I don't want to make a choice between yes or no. I'm not going to make any choice at all. Or you could say, you know what? I'm going to say yes and no. Right? I'm going to do both. There are so many other options and choices for us once we remove ourselves from the dualistic nature of this reality. Until we are able to completely observe the darkness, the corruption, the disturbing actions of others, but also until we are able to observe objectively the beauty, the light, the unconditional love without attachment and without aversion or hate for the darkness, you're free. You've learned what you came here to learn. Now, of course, being a human being, you're learning greed, you're learning guilt, you're learning shame, you're learning grief, you're learning attachment. I mean, you're learning everything in the book that there is to learn being on a terrestrial planet as this one is. The thing that sets this 3D terrestrial planet apart from all of the other, honestly, billions of terrestrial planets out there is our ability to rise above the lower vibrations of this or this, of polarity, of the two options. There aren't just two options. Like, for example, watching this video. You chose right now in this moment to sit down and dedicate your time and your energy to watching this video. There was another very clear choice of not watching the video. Now, although we would just assume that, yeah, cool, I had the choice of watching it or not watching it. There are so many other choices. What if you wanted to watch it in your dream state? Because that's totally possible. It's like, cool, I don't want to dedicate my waking hours to this, but I'll for sure check it out in dream time. That's possible, right? There are so many other possibilities. Okay, cool. Okay. I want to mention too, this might sound condescending or like mean, so I'm just gonna make a statement, and I want to say I'm not meaning to like hurt anyone's feelings. A dual mind is a simple mind. A dual mind is a simple mind. If you go about your day and you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, well, my only option this morning is to have coffee or to not have coffee. That's not your only option. You could have tea, you could have oat milk, you could have water, you could have lemon water, you could have lemonade, you can have orange juice, you could have whatever, you could have cold coffee. I mean, it's infinite. And this is just a silly example about what liquid you're going to drink in the morning. But the majority of us are conditioned to go through this reality with either one choice or the other. And I'm telling you that every single choice that you make throughout your day, throughout your life, can be split infinitely so, which for sure has its downsides. And we're going to talk about that. Okay, hold on. One more statement that I want to make, but I don't want to really talk about it in this video. Rona, hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. Rona and the V is the ultimate scare tactic to pull you into polarity. What side are you on? Are you on the side of Rona's gonna kill you? Are you on the side of the V is gonna kill you? Are you on the side of rah, 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 don't take it? Are you on the side of rah, 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 take it? Because we're gonna die. If you don't take it, we're gonna die. If you take it, we're gonna die. This is the ultimate matrix test. Yes, for sure, this is the ultimate dark side agenda rollout, okay? But this is also the ultimate choice that we all have to make to learn our lesson, to say, I'm just existing. And I don't have to make a choice. I don't have to make a choice. Can't I just observe both sides? You can. You can. You don't have to be picketing for one side or the other. You don't have to be wrapped up in the dogma of choosing and cheering for one side or the other. It's actually not that simple, all right? What is happening on planet Earth is the ultimate dark side agenda rollout, yes, but is the ultimate test for starseeds and lightworkers to rise above polarity. When have we ever been able to all come together globally to be challenged with something collectively? Right? This is beautiful. I'm sorry, hate me for saying it. I think what's happening is incredible. I think 2020 was the most incredible year to happen to planet Earth since a long time. Maybe since Atlantis or Lemuria. Okay. Okay, so what actually happens when we break through? What happens once we're like, all right, cool, EA, I'm not gonna make a choice. I don't need to put my time, my focus, or my energy between the dark side and the light side. What happens when we dissolve the need for the matrix? This is when shit gets weird, all right? Because we're not used to it. We are so used to being helplessly surrounded, and I would say caged by a system that oppresses us, that does not promote freedom of thought or speech. What happens when you just don't care anymore? And it's not about not caring, it's actually about learning and rising above. Okay. The first thing that I wrote down was disoriented. Immediately you will feel disoriented, hence an ego death. If I'm not a mother, if I'm not a landscaper, if I'm not a spiritual teacher, if I'm not a dog owner, if I'm not a member of the Canadian government, if I'm not, man, if I'm not even a female, then what am I? It is so disorienting to exit the matrix. At first, okay, at first. at first. No duality, non-duality equals no identifiers, which equals an ego death. Who am I? I don't know. Is that okay? I don't know. How is society going to perceive me? I don't know. How is a new stranger on the street going to perceive me? I don't know, because I don't know who I am. Have you gone through that in your own life? I think we've all gone through the ego death, but the disorientation of, shit. That's kind of the first reaction. It's like, shit, who am I? Who am I going to be? How can I exist in a world that identifies me without me identifying with the world? Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It actually makes me want to cry. I love it so much. It is uncharted territory. It is completely the unknown. Okay. The other thing too that comes along with like breaking through the matrix or rising above polarity is no time. Like I mentioned, there's no time, there's no association with space either, especially when you work for yourself. Like I know this as an entrepreneur. It's like, oh, it's the weekend. Okay, what does that mean to me? It means nothing. I'm still working. Oh, it's a holiday. What does that mean to me? It means nothing. I mean, what day is it? What day of the week is it? I don't know. I have no idea. Monday live video is the only semblance of weekly structure that I have, which is incredible because every day I get to wake up and I get to ask myself, where do I feel drawn today? Yeah, I have priorities. Yeah, I have obligations, absolutely. And I usually get those obligations done. But then with the rest of my free time, it's, okay, today I feel pumped up. It's going to sound ridiculous. Pumped up about admin work. Let's answer a bunch of emails. Today I feel pumped up about working outside. Let's go into the forest. Let's dig a hole. Let's move some gravel around. You know, today I feel pumped up about art. Let's go ahead and do that. Not having a semblance of structure or identity can be very scary at first, but eventually you get to tune into the frequency of every moment of your life, regardless of space, time, identity, structure, pressures from the outside world, fears from the outside world, obligations from the outside world, and you get to ask yourself, what lights me up today? And I believe that we can all get there. And you don't even have to be an entrepreneur to get there. Cool, your obligations are feeding your family, going to work. Then what are you doing with the rest of your free time? Are you really living life? Are you really utilizing your free will? Only you know that answer. And only you have the ability to say, you know what, I'm not. So instead of watching TV at night, I'm going to journal instead. I'm going to take a bath. I'm going to pour paint on a canvas. I'm going to do my hair a different way. I'm going to express myself. I'm going to get rid of a bunch of clothes. Only you have the ability to tune into yourself, to feel where you're coming from in that moment, and to take action on that vibe, on that feeling, on that intuition. We're here to live life. But like I mentioned, we will not be able to move on from planet Earth or graduate with a PhD. You can still graduate and move on, for sure, for sure. It's not wholly contingent on learning to rise above duality, but we are here at the most polarizing moment. My whole head just tingled. The most polarizing moment in all of human history. To what? To fight it? To feed it? No, to rise above it. Utilize it, please. Don't be feeding the system by draining your energy and focusing on fear and uncertainty and doubt. Please. For me, for you, I mean, for your own liberation. All right, okay. Non-duality also equals 5D. And 5D, you know, I don't know if I really like that term. And I always fight with labels and terms because especially writing a book, it's like, I have 5 words for universe or source or God or whatever you want to call it. I have 5 words for 5D. I mean, how do you write a book in a nonlinear way without words that actually mean anything to people, right? You define everything is really the solution there. So non-duality equals 5D, which essentially equals simultaneousness. Still don't know if that's a word. When we step out of the simplicity of duality, the simplicity of, am I going to drink my coffee this morning or not? Yep. When we get out of the choice, the have or the have not, the black or the white, the yes or the no, when we get out of that, we have all choices simultaneously. Instead of the probability of you drinking a coffee being 50% and the probability of you not drinking a coffee being 50%, all of a sudden you've got 22%, 22%, 22%, 22%, 22% of 5 different drinks or what have you, okay? Once again, my math is probably totally off on that. But this is part of the problem. If you are unable to take your power back from the system and navigate your own frequencies to say, I get to choose it all, I get to choose nothing, or I get to choose one or the other or 1 out of 10, right? If you don't have the ability to make a solid choice and commit to that choice, you're going to be hopping in and out of timelines very rapidly because you're going to be doubting the choices that you make. So there does need to be a certain level of confidence moving into a higher frequency based on the choices that you make, or else you're going to be hopping back and forth. It's a yes, no, it's a no. It's a yes, it's a no. It's everything, it's nothing. I don't know. Okay, now I want to talk about another concept that I just had a download on that makes a lot, like it was kind of that aha moment for me. And I want to ask you guys, have you ever, and I'm sure you have, but I really want to ask, have you ever gotten to a place in your life, this is just a moment, usually it's a very quick moment that passes you by. Have you ever been at a place in your life where you feel completely apathetic? And the definition of apathy is lack of motivation for everything. Like, it's so bizarre. So it's like, am I thirsty? I don't know. Am I hungry? Yeah. What do I want to eat? I don't know. Do I have emails to reply to? Yeah. Do I want to reply to them? No. It is just this utter, overwhelming abyss that you dive into. And the word that sums that up is desirelessness. I still don't think that's a word either. Desirelessness. You desire for nothing. Now, I know when I'm in that place, my immediate ego human reaction is something is wrong. Something is seriously wrong. Check the vitals. Are you alive? It's like immediately I have this anxiety of, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not productive. I don't want anything. I don't need anything. I don't want to do anything. Something is seriously wrong with me. Am I depressed, right? And then we put labels on it. And then with the labels come medication and big pharma and all of that BS. That's usually to the mainstream person. Okay, what I recently realized and understood is that desirelessness is the absolute state of freedom. It's the absolute state of exiting the matrix, of not wanting for anything. And if you don't identify with anything, even with yourself, if you want for nothing at all, not even the basic human needs, then do you even exist? Are you even alive? It's like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it. Doesn't make a sound. Being in a place of desirelessness is scary. Like, even still, my immediate reaction is something's wrong, I'm unproductive. In the past 2 days, like literally past 2 days, I've realized that that is the ultimate state to be in. And when we exist apart from the matrix, when we're not really observing what our next move is, when we're not weighing the pros and the cons, when we're not defending and protecting, when we're just in a state of complete objective neutrality, anything can exist. Actually, as a matter of fact, everything exists in that state. If I'm in a place right now and I'm objectively neutral, and the first and only thought that comes to mind is, I want coffee. Your focus is being directed and distracted into what you want, then you receive what you want. And the way that we're programmed in this matrix is to want something more after you got what you wanted. It keeps us in this ever spiraling loop of need, attainment, and need. What if you don't need? What if you don't need to attain? That is pure freedom. And that's a scary thing. Because when's the last time you were free of the matrix? Maybe when you were a monk in a past lifetime and all you did was meditate and you didn't need for anything? It's a very new sensation. And I want to encourage desirelessness. And I don't want you to confuse that with depression, and I don't want you to confuse that with, other things that could be damaging. I want you to surrender to that state. I want you to observe yourself in that state rather than feel anxious or worried in that state. Okay? Okay. And, yeah. Once again, this is just what I wrote down. Desirelessness equals the need for nothing, which equals scarcity. I also put down, wanting nothing means you don't exist in the system. It's so true. It is so true. Think about it. The Netherlands has it on lockdown. Amsterdam, the Netherlands. There are countries in the world that are seriously putting their research and their funds into sustainability and renewable resources. And that's the way to go. Think about each one of us, no matter where we are in the world, all having a garden. I don't need to go to the grocery store. I have a garden. I have a goat. I have maybe a cow. I'm good to go. What if not only did you have a garden and a little farm, but you also had a horse to get around? I don't need gas because I don't need a car. Because I don't really need to go anywhere. And if I do, I have a horse and I feed my horse, and that's the fuel for my horse. The entire system would collapse. We don't need more shit. We just don't. We need to be thinking about self-sustainability. And when we get to that point, we exit the matrix. I don't need to have a boss because I'm my own boss. I don't need to be on a schedule because I make my own schedule. I don't need to drive my kids to school because I homeschool my kids. I think we can exist that way. I think there still needs to be a greater structure, some sort of system, but we need to start relying on ourselves. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay. Last points. And before I make these very last points, if you enjoyed this video, Please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video on your social media platforms. Get the word out there. This is the perfect video to share to people who are just waking up, are just starting to question. All right? All right, last but not least. Deep within nothing is everything. And the more I dive into that infinite dark abyss of nothing, the more I realize that is sovereignty, that is freedom, that is infinity. And thank you, Danny, for that beautiful super chat. Really appreciate it. And Sharma and everyone else, of course. When you don't choose a side, you stop feeding the system. And you liberate yourself with all doors open. And one more time. When you don't choose a side, you stop feeding the system, and you liberate yourself by leaving all doors open. And you fucking deserve that. I don't care what society has to say, or your family, or your friends, or that little nagging voice in your mind. You deserve freedom. You deserve sovereignty. And freedom, my friends, does not, I repeat, does not come from the choices that you make. You will never find freedom by making a choice. You will only find freedom by understanding that you don't have to make a choice. As always, I will see all of you in the fifth dimension. Thank you for being here.